Hi, Roberto. It's a great pleasure to me to discuss these topics today with Roberto Ascione, on top of being the founder and CEO of Healthware Group, one of the major player in the digital health industry. He has been recently awarded in the US as a top industry expert in the last decade. So thanks for being here, Roberto. And again, it's a pleasure to discuss these topics with you.
Hi, Attilio. Thanks for having me today.
And so on the first topic, my first question would be, which areas do you see in the digital health will see the major boost under this new world, we can call as a new world, and in particular, if you see that finally we can meet some substantial improvement on remote monitoring and diagnostic.
Yeah, the digital health over the past few years clearly was addressing a number of the issues that we are collectively experiencing in these months because of the pandemic situation. So for us that we're working in digital health, there's really nothing new. What's changed is the common and I would say social and institutional understanding, or at least I hope so, that the digital health is a major tool to address changing and even rapidly changing healthcare needs. So with this said, clearly one of the key issues here is the limited access, the limited physical access. This is key as we learned to contain the pandemic. And will be key in the so-called phase 2, say the time between now and when we will get a vaccine, to monitor people and avoid basically new peaks, you know, in the pandemic. There's a lot of talking about the social tracking and whatever, but the real challenge is when people will get infected, because they will, how we can safely keep them home and monitored from a medical perspective. So in this context, the parts of digital health that can play a big role are everything that enables the concept of telehealth, or in other words, telemedicine. So, and I'm not talking about like big systems like sensors and remote cardiology or remote radiology. I'm talking about basic solutions that would allow people to stay safely at home, report symptoms on a daily basis in a simple way, and for the doctor to video visit them, technically access to them as needed, without pinging them on a daily basis to check on their symptoms. So this is the area which is literally booming globally, and we believe of great interest.
Thank you. And on another topic is in health digitalization. So what's your position on what you can see in terms of future success of wearable device or big data collection of patient medical records?
Everything that allows medicine to become more data-driven is for sure important to enable also in medicine those new ways of doing things in a way that we already experience in other sectors. So sensors that are able, especially passively, to have a data representation of body functions, the way we perform, are of course incredibly important. We learned this already in a number of proof of concepts, and we already have some consumer products like bracelets, like watches, that have this capability. And of course, the more this data will flow into personal health records, which we will be able to then give access to doctors when needed, will create the infrastructure to have a much more data-driven and even artificial intelligence-powered healthcare that, of course, we need for the future. Think about if now we had available personal medical records adopted by the population, the management of the pandemic would have been completely different. So for the future, this is very important. It will also be very important that we have more and more innovative companies, AKA startups, to tackle these issues, which is happening, of course, already all over the world, but it's very important that we keep sustaining this ecosystem, because it's from there that we are getting most of what's new and what we need in order to build this healthcare of the future.
And in terms of best practice, so as you have worldwide the chance to look at different models, which country would you cite as a best practice in terms of digital health digitalization, and also in terms of treatment of data from its citizens?
Those are a few different aspects. I'll try to answer to all of them. So first off, we both call Italy home, and Italy hasn't been for the past years at the forefront of digital health for multiple reasons. But during the COVID crisis, being one of the first countries that has been hit hard after China, under the challenge, we have been able to step up on the digital health side quite a bit. To give you an example, a company that is also part of our investment portfolio called Pagine Mediche, which is a telehealth company connecting physicians and patients, has done something that is quite remarkable. In fact, globally is being recognized and has been also reported. In a supernatural, with a couple of weeks ahead of the infection peaking in the country, they released a self-triage chatbot for people to assess the symptoms and understand, under the evolving epidemiological model and the response model of the country, which of course for the first weeks was changing on a daily basis, what they should have done to stay safe or protect themselves. This was then complemented by a home telemonitoring system for the general practitioners to monitor people at home in safety through video consultation and symptoms update on a daily basis. This today is used by nearly 3,000 doctors in the country, and over 4,000 patients are being monitored while staying at home. It's one of the fastest growing experiences globally compared to the population. And for once, Italy, has been through this at the forefront of the digital health innovation, which, of course, this is a bad situation, but there's always some good, or something positive to look in any crisis. So that's about Italy. Clearly, all the other countries that were already ahead in terms of digital health, the US, UK, Germany, have been stepping up as the issue came closer. So today there are a couple of hundred of companies globally that pivoted their models to create a COVID-19 specific response. I'm also chairman of Frontiers Health, the global conference on digital health. So I'm also using this channel today to share that later in May, we will run a global Frontiers Health Live, totally geared towards fighting the COVID, where a number of these companies will present data about what they are actually doing. One other company that I can mention is between Austria and US, LA specifically, is called Healthtunes. Healthtunes is about to release a music therapy program that it's basically helping with the physician burnout because of, of course, the incredibly challenging situation that physicians are experiencing, but also to the general population. So all of us that are struggling with this situation, there's a lot that can be done in terms of all this set of wellness and meditation and relaxation apps. So Headspace has been working on this, Calm has been working on this, and this one, Healthtunes, will come up with a complete new music therapy based interventions in the coming days. So in conclusion, there's an incredible, vibrant mobilization of the innovation ecosystem against this challenge that I think it's super important to watch and encourage, even with investments, as all these companies will inevitably access the capital market in the coming weeks and months.
Thank you, Roberto. Very last question on my side. In some other experience, we've seen some cross cooperation between InsurTech for the data and the digital health. You do want to cite some of them?
Yeah, the insurance companies and generally speaking, kind of private payers were playing a big role in the spreading of digital health, and of course, this can only expand in this situation. Those companies can play a big role in expanding access to telehealth quite quickly, but also expand access into these new initiatives that I was mentioning before. So I hope that large scale, especially health insurers, but even financial institutions will really lead the charge in empowering those startups with the customer access, because that's basically the complement to the equation. While a startup can do a great job in coming up with the new solution and validate it, then to scale on big numbers, those big players that as private payers have a lot of members and often distribution platforms can play a big role to connect these great ideas with the market. So I really hope that they will basically embrace this heavily, not even in the next months, but right in the next weeks, because this is what people need to cope with this new situation.
Well, on a final note, Roberto, you're also a friend. I want to thank you as an Italian because for what you're doing and the passion, and you're bringing Italy among the big players in this specific industry. On top of your award, you are chairman of Frontiers Health, and you are in several panels. And thank you for what you're doing, really. And it was very interesting.
Thank you, Attilio. We are doing our fair share of this. That has been always to the core of Healthware. So for us, it's just try to be as helpful as possible, to our clients, partners, and to the innovation ecosystem. So thank you.
Thank you.